now Riyad season back at it again. They have another one of those stat cards coming up this time. Excuse me, in February. Bivol and Beterbiev is going to headline it. Bivol Beterbiev 2, which I'm a little bit shocked that there's a part 2 happening, but I guess there was a bilateral rematch clause, unless Bivol was the A side, because I thought maybe Beterbiev was the A side with 3 belts, but Bivol maybe being a smaller, maybe a little bit of a bigger name since he fought Canelo. I don't know, but I'm just going to say I assume it was a bilateral rematch clause and Bivol activated that, right? Because if you know what I'm saying, like why would Beterbiev activate it? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Nevertheless, that's the main event. Then you have Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker as the co-main event. Amazing fight. Two guys who have been on a rampage. Shakur Stevenson and Floyd Schofield on the undercard as well. And Carlos Adames is fighting what's this guy's name? Shiraz. What's his first name? Hamza Shiraz. Okay. Not too familiar with his work, but I will get familiar. Don't worry about it. Now here's where it gets a little bit interesting. Virgil Ortiz versus Israel Madrimov, right? But allegedly that was supposed to be Jaron Ennis in that spot, but we'll come back to that in a second. Let's keep going through the card. Big Bang Zhang versus Agit Kabayel, right? So Big Bang Agit, I know he's undefeated. And Joseph Boutsi versus Callum Smith, or Boutsi, not really sure how you pronounce it, but I've seen him fight. I would favor him to beat Callum Smith in that fight, actually. Nevertheless,
interesting. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Joshua. I would probably have to get acquainted with him, who he is as a fighter. I believe I've seen him fight once only, but not enough to really determine really if he can beat Callum Smith. So I'm gonna have to get in the lab on that one for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so now just like with many of the previous Riyadh season cards, people are saying this is the best card ever. There was a previous Riyadh season card that people were saying was the best card ever, right? Which was ended up being an amazing card with the Eminem performance, right? That one had Jared Big Baby Anderson versus Martin McCall. That card, right? But I can't quite remember. There was a PBC card that came after that was stacked as well.
Yeah, that's what Pitbull and Rayo, and that's what
bro.
Caleb Plant. They had a few people in that card.
Yeah, that was a really good card. But when you look at this card, I mean, this is star studded. Just off the rip, do you think this is the best card you've seen in boxing history?
I'm not gonna lie. I think this goes even higher than the last Riyadh season, which is crazy to say. But based on just looking at the card in general, and maybe it's probably because, I mean, it's debatable. I would say it's debatable because Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker, that is a respectable match in and of itself, right? But you have a no-brainer here. You have Arthur versus Bivol. Then you have Shakur Stevenson, Flo Schofield. Regardless of how you feel about the outcome of this fight, is still a good fight. Then you have Virgil Ortiz and Madrimov, who Madrimov gave a tough, outing against, Terrence Crawford, who many consider, to be pound, top 2 in boxing as of right now. So and then you have a couple others. I'm not going to go on a limb and say, actually, I take it back. I'm not going to say it's the best card that we've seen, but it's up there. It's up there. I think if Virgil would have been fighting Boots, I would have probably been more comfortable saying it's the best card. But
yeah, I mean, they have 3 main events on the undercard, man. I mean, Madrimov and Virgil at 54 is that's still a main event kind of event, especially with Madrimov's performance versus Terrence Crawford. And Madrimov is fighting this month, isn't he? Doesn't he fight Boachuk this month?
Yeah, so we have 4 main events on this card. You're right. We have 4 main events on this card.
That's a main event kind of fight. Shakur and Floyd Schofield, if that was on Top Rank, that's a main event. You know what I'm saying?
Dan Dubois and Joseph Parker. That's
a main event kind of fight.
And you got Arthur and Bivol, main event.
Is the main event.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
you're right.
I mean, it's stacked. It's stacked. And the only thing that could make this card better is if Eminem does not come out, bro.
That's a fact. Oh my God.
No disrespect to Eminem, but I just don't have time for that, man. I don't
Oh,
have
just
time
give
for
us some
that, bro.
fights, man. Don't they're all that little performance.
Yeah, we don't need
I don't
that.
want to hear that. You know, and
We
Eminem is
don't
one of my favorite rappers of all time, but I don't want to see no
like
performances. I just want to see the fight.
it's a long enough card. Last time I think it went on from 6 to like 1. It was like a 7-hour event. I don't need Eminem when I'm watching 7 hours worth of boxing, but
Fact.
it might be. I got to go back and review the last Riyad season and this PBC card that I was talking about because I don't know why I can't remember it, but it's the Pitbull Ryo, Caleb Plant when he fought Trevor McCum. Yeah,
McCumbie.
yeah. I remember because I was in Miami at the time and I was at the sports bar watching it. I'm just like, yo, this is
Yeah.
tough.
And
And
then you
then
had Canelo versus Berlanga.
Canelo versus Belonga. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not as stacked but it was a good
It was a good
card.
card. It was good. It was good for what PBC could muster at the time. But it just
Yeah,
not better than the Riot season cards.
yeah. I mean, the
Not
money is
better.
too long here. They're not worried about profitability. It doesn't seem like they're worried about profitability. You know what I'm saying? They're just trying to put on events. So this could be the best card in boxing history. I have to go deep into the archive to really see though. But just do you think all the matchups are pretty even going top to bottom, or do you see some one-sided matchups here?
I do see some. I mean, I think the Shakur Stevenson Floyd Schofield fight is going to be entertaining in the beginning, but then I think it's going to be pretty one-sided. I'll have to see with Hamza because I think Carlos Adames stops Hamza, but I'll have to watch more Hamza to really be able to confirm that. I would probably say those.
I feel like
Oh,
the
go ahead.
fight at that division, right? It would be Adames versus like Janibek, wouldn't it? Isn't that like the fight to be made at that division right now?
At a division year right now, so I don't know why, but it's sometimes it's pretty hard to get some of these fights in. Maybe it's
No,
just
for sure.
timing. That's what I would think. But so I would probably say those two, and then like I said before, I have to see more of a Joshua because I think you believe Joshua versus Caleb Smith. It sounds like it's pretty one-sided to you as well, right? Would you say
Not
it's
one sided.
one-sided?
Caleb Smith is solid, but I'm gonna
Okay.
lean in the other direction right now. Caleb
Okay, but
Smith
I would
is
probably
he's
say
a
those are the only two. But like I said before, it's asterisk against with Carlos versus Hamza, right? But I think the only one this card is relatively competitive. I'm not even gonna lie. Like it's not like a typical card where you see, oh, this guy's clear ace is gonna dominate the next. You don't. We're probably gonna see some upsets like we always see in Riot season.
yeah. Let me ask you about the main event. Do you expect it to go any differently than the first fight?
Well, I do think. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be similar, but I feel like Bivol this time around, it really comes down to what Bivol's going to do. If he feels as though he wants to really not move around as much and really sit there to kind of exchange, I think he gets stopped the second time around. If he decides to change the game plan, I think it's going to be very similar to the first fight. I really do. I think it's going to be really competitive. It's going to be really close. But I think Arthur probably is going to. He might go for the gusto this time around, and I think we can probably see a stoppage if I'm being completely honest. But we'll just have to see because it really depends on more so what Bivol's going to do in comparison to what Arthur's going to do. That's how I genuinely feel about it.
He's not going to stand there and trade. Reason being, just when I was watching that fight, you could tell that wasn't a man where moving in that fashion was his game plan. That was not something in there was bothering him and making him move like that. Bivol's usually like, what I'm saying, he has the rhythm, but the way he was moving around that ring, you could see it was from a stance of discomfort. And I suspect that comes from Archer's power. So
Probably. Do you think he would try to like prove like, you know what, maybe in order to get this one, I'm just gonna have to like go for it, be a little bit more risky? Or you feel like once he get in there, get hit, he be like, no, I can't.
Nope. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. and I mean, Bivol's an amazing fight. They put up a great fight in the first one, so I'm not even trying to front like Bivol's garbage or anything, because that's not the case. It's far from it. But like I said, like for example, Jermaine Ortiz versus Tio, you could tell that movement was Jermaine's strategy. Like the
Yeah.
way Bivol was moving, it wasn't like
Yeah.
natural, right? It was something was making him do that, and it was Archer's power, is my suspicion. And I think Archer's still gonna have that power. And I think even if Bivol's mind is telling him sit here and trade, eventually his legs are gonna start moving and getting
Yeah.
out of there. You know what I mean? So he's gonna have to utilize the ring to beat Archer. You know what I mean? But he's not gonna
That's
sit there and
true.
trade
And
him.
not get, because he's gotten hurt a couple of times in that last fight too. So it's like, yeah, you're probably right. So, we're probably in agreement. Like it might fall in
Yeah.
that way. But like if
It doesn't
Arthur,
make it doesn't make sense to trade with Archer. Joe Smith tried it, right? And it just
yeah,
does not make sense. It doesn't make
yeah,
sense.
or
Um,
even staying there just in the pocket a little longer, sometimes it can be devastating. But sometimes these fighters, they feel like they got more to prove in a sense. Like, oh, you know what? I did this. I gotta conquer this. Yeah, I'm gonna probably get hurt, but I'm gonna show that I can, and it could backfire. You know what I mean? And we've seen it time and time again. Maybe, he gets hit, but he's like, you know what? Let me try to, and that's when they go
yeah.
night-night. But you might be
I,
right. Maybe his survival instincts really kicks in, just like the first fight. And he tries to
I think
like,
he's too smart. This is a guy who had Canelo seemingly in trouble several times and could have stepped on it, but said, you know what, let me reset and go to the center of the ring. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, I don't think he's gonna get hurt and like, all right, let me go out on my shield. I think he's gonna like, all right, let me reset, try to take this
Or
fight
not
back.
even like get hurt. Because sometimes, you fighters, they have this false sense of bravado where they'll go in there like, okay, I got this game plan, but because they're not getting hurt in that split moment, it's like, you know what? Like in the first fight, right? Like exchanging for probably throwing a couple punches. He had some success there, right? Where he's throwing combination, boom, 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 right? In the second fight, I can see a situation where he's finding that success, and then instead of him just like moving sideways and moving out,
Mm,
he's pressing forward and he just
the
gets
Leo
clipped.
Santa Cruz.
Right. You know what I mean? Like he
Okay.
probably feels like he needs to probably stay there an extra couple more seconds in order to kind of get more combinations off because of, the moments that he had success in the first fight. When he's watching
Mhm.
footage, he's like, okay, I had success here. What could I have done to really steal this from the judges? You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that can be his undoing. The
Yeah.
shots that
Oh,
where you don't get hurt, where you don't see the punch coming, and it's like in between your punches and you stay there too long and now you're clipped. You know what I mean? I can
yep.
probably see that happening. But
Yeah.
we'll probably see. We'll probably
Yeah.
see.
If you had to just look at the entire card, I mean, this would be the undercard. Is there a fight that's standing out to you that you think might steal the show, if possible?
Uh, yeah, Virgil Ortiz and Majmov.
Okay, okay. I would go
Yeah.
with Dubois and Parker.
Do you
I
think so?
I think that's gonna be a fight, bro. I think
I ain't
that's
gonna
gonna
lie,
be
no disrespect. I think that fight's gonna be. No, I can't disrespect. I think that fight might be like for me, I got it as probably like, bro, it might be like fourth in terms of entertainment for me in this card, bro.
really
Yeah,
nah,
bro.
bro. I'm looking forward to that, bro. Those dudes have been on a rampage each, and
They
it's the
haven't.
heavyweight, so they're cracking. The
Yeah, we're gonna see
heavyweights are
probably a
cracking.
knockout. Yeah, we're probably gonna see a knockout for
I
sure.
don't, I don't, I don't know if it's gonna be a knockout, bro. I think
I
it
think so.
because
I think
and
so.
the thing about these two guys for heavyweights, they move very well as well. So it's not gonna just be like,
Joseph Parker in
well,
particular.
yeah, he
Joseph
could really
Parker in
move,
particular.
but the boys were gonna move too. Like for example, they're not like Zhang and Wilder, right? That wasn't
Hank is
really
just such a big body.
yeah, but I'm like Dubois is not as big as Zhang. Well, he's pretty big too, but he's kind of. But Joseph Parker,
Yeah,
bro, I like that
yeah.
fight, bro. I'm excited for that fight. I'm excited for
I ain't
that
gonna
fight.
lie. It's crazy because I feel like Daniel Dubois can crack. He's cracking, right? Joseph Parker could obviously crack because he's a heavyweight, but Daniel Dubois has more power. But I feel like Joseph Parker just got more that he can use to win. It's just he just can't get caught sleeping. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's crazy because I feel like Joseph Parker's the more skilled fighter. I feel like I don't know, Daniel Dubois, he's not really he's just I don't know. I'm not really a big believer in like I don't know. Like, he's just there. Like, you know what I mean? He's a
He
solid fighter, but he just
good.
doesn't have the it factor for me. Like and the way his style is, the way he fights and he has openings. Like he makes a lot of mistakes. It's just he gets away with it sometimes because he can crack, he can punch hard. Ask Usyk, he had the fake going down to the body to, you know
Used
what I
to beat
mean?
his ass after that, though.
Joseph Joseph just gotta. I just gotta see what Joseph's durability is like. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I,
So,
I I I like Virgil Ortiz Madrimov. I think Virgil's style is gonna force Madrimov to fight. Right, Madrimov is
yeah,
not gonna just. It's not gonna be a clean fight. He's not gonna be able to stand out there and try to pick you apart as he was trying to do to Terrence Crawford. Right, because he landed some clean ones from distance. Right, and his
right.
rhythm, but it's not going to be one of those like it where that fight was a chess match where it seemed like nobody wanted to make the first mistake. I think Virgil Ortiz is very like willing to make the first mistake to get in there. You know what I'm
100%.
saying? It could look very similar to the Boachuk fight. We just have to see if Madrimov can hold up the way Boachuk held up, right?
Yeah,
Vice vice versa. I mean, yeah, I know Virgil went down a couple times that fight, but kept getting up. Can Madrimov hit him with something that he can't
yeah,
get up from? So I expect that to be a firefight as well. But I think he's going to make Madrimov a bit uncomfortable because he's going to be in his face. But you're going to be there to get hit too. So, and we know
yeah.
Virgil gets hit.
And we will see, how good, Madrimov is, right?
Yeah,
We see how he performed against Terrence Crawford, and people are willing, because let's say Virgil goes in there and he just dominates, Madrimov. People's probably gonna look like, Crawford, we got another one for you. You know,
yeah.
you know
But
what I mean? Like,
that would
yo,
probably be a Styles make fights kind of thing, though.
kind of thing, because obviously with Virgil's style, if he goes against Crawford, I think that favors Crawford heavily. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But we know what the fan base is going to ask for, right? They always
Yeah,
look for a measuring stick with these
hmm
fights, And
that's
then
a
if,
fact.
if Madrimov wins and beats Virgil, Terrence Crawford himself is probably going to go on Twitter and say, "I told you, this guy's, how
Mhm.
fighters are." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, and the Crawford fan base is probably going to be like, "Oh, see, he was great." Not saying Madrimov is trash or not. I'm just saying people are waiting to use this as a measuring stick.
yeah.